Over the chaotic history of IndyCar, there's been numerous drivers to savor the sweet taste of victory. But there's also been plenty of drivers whose quick taste turned out to be a one-shot free sample. Chaotic times spawn in quite a lot of these stories, so it should be no shock that plenty of them have come from arguably the weirdest era of IndyCar, that being the late 90s and early 2000s IRL. In the early days of the Indy Racing League, a schedule with only ovals and chaotic races with high attrition created plenty of these stories. So in this special 4th installment of IndyCar One Hit Wonders, I want to take a look at the One Hit Wonders from the Indy Racing League. To start off, I'd like to talk about a man that many IndyCar fans know, albeit one that some may not remember being a driver. Sam Schmidt, for many newer fans of the sport, was just a team owner, but back in the day, he made his living behind the wheel. Sam Schmidt made his IndyCar debut at the 1997 Phoenix 200 and was stuck in frankly dreadful equipment for the next 2 seasons. These years were brutal, however he did show some potential, with him scoring a runner-up finish at the 1998 season finale in Las Vegas. This was enough for him to get a big break. As for the 1999 season, Sam would drive for Treadway Racing, replacing the retiring Arie Luyendyk. Sam's 1999 season was an odd one. He had 4 DNFs in 10 races, but in the races he did finish, he took the checkered flag in the top 10 every time, finished in the top 5 all but once, and grabbed 3 podiums, one of them being that elusive first win. At the 1999 Vegas.com 500, Sam Schmidt would start the race from the pole, the first time he'd lead the field to green in his career. But when the green flag flew for that race, it wasn't like he was cruising around all day. 11 cautions and 11 lead changes created an action-packed race from start to finish, and Sam wasn't at the front for a lot of it. Schmidt was leading in the early stages, but a stall during the first pit stop sent him back. For quite a long time, Kenny Brack was looking like the favorite to win, leading 118 laps on the day. But with about 2.5 laps left, Sam went for a move to take the race lead going into turn number 3. Withstanding the pressure from the reigning series champion, Sam would cross the line to win the race, leading only 35 laps on the day. It was a breakout win, and was thought to be the first of many at the time. Entering the 2000 season, hopes were incredibly high for Sam and Treadway Racing. We would never get the chance to see what this cove blossomed into, though, as 3 weeks before the first race of the 2000 season, Sam would hit the wall at about 180 miles an hour while testing at Walt Disney World Speedway. Sam would be paralyzed from the neck down, and was put on a respirator for the next 5 months. The accident ended Sam's story as a driver, but he began his story as an owner shortly thereafter. In 2001, he would form Sam Schmidt Motorsports, which has been the home of plenty of talented drivers throughout the years. In 2020, McLaren formed a partnership with the team. In 2021, McLaren had purchased a 75% ownership role in the organization. And lastly, on December 31st, 2024, McLaren had fully acquired the team, purchasing Sam's remaining stake in the organization. Sam Schmidt's legacy is giant in the world of motorsports, but despite the man being a great success as an owner and an inspiration to many, you have to wonder how things could have turned out if that crash never happened. In my opinion, his career is maybe one of the biggest what-ifs in IndyCar history. The career of Mark Dismore is one that really deserves its own video. He had a wild ride in his time in IndyCar, both literally and metaphorically speaking. His nasty crash at Indy in 1991 massively derailed his career. However, he would find a second life in the IRL later on in the decade. Starting off as a part-time racer with Team Menard, he would eventually sign with Kelly Racing in 1997, and once he joined the team, he would hit the ground running. Inconsistency dogged him in the early days, but when he shined bright, he really did shine. Dismore's first and only ever IndyCar win came one race after Schmidt's win, that being at the season finale for the 1999 IRL season at Texas Motor Speedway. The race was quite chaotic, with several accidents and mechanical issues throughout, and a third of the race being run under yellow. Dismore started the race in second and shared the lead throughout most of the race with reigning champion Kenny Brack and eventual season champion Greg Ray. Dismore would go on to retake the race lead with about 22 laps left and never looked back. Over 10 years after his first IndyCar start at Mid-Ohio in 1989, Dismore had finally scored that elusive first win. Dismore won the race by a full lap over Davey Hamilton in second as well, and with that win in the season finale, had catapulted himself up from 11th in the points entering the race to 3rd coming out of it. Although Dismore would put together a rather solid campaign in the year 2000, he would never return to victory lane, making his final ever IndyCar start just 3 seasons later. Dismore is still involved with racing on the business side side of things as he serves as a vice president of Comet Kart Sales, a company where a disturbing amount of my father's money went to between the years of 2013 and 2024. Damn, I should really make some more videos about my karting days. To continue on this video, we go to the 2002 season, the year of the One Hit Wonder. And to start, I want to take a look at Jeff Ward, who had one of the more bizarre racing careers out of the early IRL, which is really saying something. Ward had been a rather prolific motocross rider from the late 70s through to his first retirement in 1992. It would be in the early 90s when he pivoted to racing in cars, starting a 4-year-long career in Indy Lights where he would not score a win but did get a solid amount of top 5s and pole positions. Ward would make his debut in the IRL during the 1996-97 season, and in the following few years he scored 7 podiums, with a fair few of them being runner-up finishes. In 2002, Jeff Ward would sign on to drive for Chip Ganassi Racing, who were looking to get an IRL team together before leaving kart at the end of that year. Ward would go on to have a very topsy-turvy season, one that would see a win 6 years in the making. At the 2002 Boomtown 500, it was a classic IRL showdown at the end. Ward, who had started the race in 7th, came up victorious in a thrilling photo finish between himself and Al Unser Jr. It was the only lap that Ward had led all day, and the final lap that he led in his entire IndyCar career. Jeff Ward would only make one more start in IndyCar after 2002. As for the 2003 season, his seat in the number 9 Chip Ganassi car went to a young Kiwi by the name of Scott Dixon. Jeff Ward would end up returning to motocross after his time in IndyCar, happy that his 12-year stint in American open wheel racing had yielded some rather nice fruit. The career of Airton Dare is on the stranger end of the history of the IRL too. He started off being a childhood prodigy in jet ski racing, winning 6 national championships in his native Brazil, along with the South American Continental Championship. Dare made the switch to car racing in the mid-90s, and after 2 moderately successful years in Indy Lights at the end of the decade, Dare would make the step up into the IRL beginning in the year 2000. Driving for Team Extreme in his first 2 years in the series, Dare would win Rookie of the Year honors in 2000 and also score the team's best ever finish of 2nd at Pikes Peak that year. 2001 was a much better season on the whole, but the team folded at the end of the year, leaving Dare out in the cold. He wouldn't find a ride for the 2002 season and looked like his career was dead in the water. However, an unfortunate salvation would be found. In the 2002 season opener at Homestead, Donnie Beechler, who had signed to drive for AJ Foyt in the offseason, would be concussed in a practice crash in Turn 4. The medical staff wouldn't clear him for the race, and so AJ Foyt would call up Airton Dare to drive the number 14 car in Miami that day. Dare's performance in the race was rather impressive, as although a late crash would leave him classed in 10th, he had run as high as 2nd during the race. It's doubly impressive when you realize that Dare hadn't driven an IndyCar since October of 2001, and also had never driven in a Dallara chassis until that weekend. Coupled with the fact that Beechler was also set to miss the next round of the championship, and it would lead to AJ Foyt deciding to drop Beechler for the rest of the season and sign Dare effective immediately, with the announcement coming only 5 days after the Miami race. Airton would return to an IndyCar podium in the race where Jeff Ward scored his first ever IndyCar win, but then 1 month later, Dare would finally stand on the top step. In the 9th round of the 2002 IRL season at Kansas Speedway, Dare would start the race in 6th, and although he was running up towards the front throughout the day, it wouldn't be until the second half where Dare would actually lead a lap. Even then, he only led 5 laps and was soon relegated out of that top spot. Still running in the top 3 later on, the complexion of the race would be turned on its head when Thomas Scheckter crashed in Turn 2 with 10 laps left on the board. It would set up a dogfight between Dare and Sam Hornish Jr. Dare would time the run on the restart to perfection, take the run onto the high side, and get the move done to score his only ever IndyCar win. It was AJ Foyt Racing's first win since Kenny Brack's win at the 1999 Indy 500, and would prove to be Foyt's last victory until Takuma Sato at the 2013 Grand Prix of Long Beach. Dare's season took a nosedive after the win, however, as in the 6 races that followed it, Dare would DNF 4 times and finish no better than 11th. He would never race full-time in IndyCar again following 2002, only making 2 more starts in the 2003 and 2006 Indy 500s. Dare would return to Brazil, working in the family business and now racing in motocross. Quite fitting considering the career of his fellow one-hit wonder from 2002. But as it turns out, Dare's triumph in Kansas that year wouldn't be the end of the one-hit wonders to come out of 2002. Out of all the drivers in this video, Felipe Giaffone is the one that I feel deserved the most amount of wins. Giaffone was a driver on par with the likes of Petto, Ward, Kyle Kirkwood, or in the past now Colton Herta in today's terms. The sort of driver where he's always up towards the front, always in the discussion for being a top running driver in the championship, but never making that leap ahead to be a true championship contender. In his first 2 IndyCar seasons, Giaffone scored 6 podiums and hit the ground running as a top driver almost instantly. His sophomore season in 2002 was easily his best, seeing more than half of his career podium finishes, his best IndyCar points finish, and also his lone IndyCar win. In the 12th race of the season at Kentucky Speedway, Giaffone started the race in 3rd and was absolutely dominant, leading 124 laps on his way to victory lane. It was one of many results from the 2002 season that resulted in Felipe Giaffone finishing 4th in that year's Drivers' Championship. In my book, Giaffone would have at least scored another win, but his career was turned on its head in 2003. He had a great start that season, entering that year's Indy 500 3rd in the season points. Then, after a last place finish in that year's Indy 500, Giaffone would only score 1 more top 5 in the rest of his career. That coming in the Wet n Wild 2006 IndyCar race at Watkins Glen that was the subject of a race review on this channel just a few uploads ago. It should be noted that Giaffone did suffer an injury later on in 2003, but even before then, things looked to be on a nosedive. A nosedive that unfortunately he never came out of. Giaffone's IndyCar career is a pretty big what if in my book, as I genuinely feel like he could have won a championship if he was in the right equipment. So there you have it, folks, 5 more of the IndyCar One Hit Wonders. This was a video that has been very long in the making. I originally began working on this script back in December of 2023, about a week and a half removed from my 19th birthday. I promptly abandoned it in early 2024 and only rediscovered this script about 3 weeks ago. It took me 2 weeks after the original One Hit Wonders video to post Volume 2, and then took me about a month to make Volume 3. Now that Volume 4 is coming out 2 years after that, I will end this video by saying that Volume 5 will be coming out sometime in 2029. Thank you all for watching and have a great afternoon.